Hi, I'm Jason Malicki. I'm here with Gary Hoover, global leader of the TBM private equity practice, and Andre Sousa-Cruz, our business development director for Europe. Gary and Andre are going to share some of their thoughts coming out of PEI's Operating Partners Forum in London, which they attended last week. Andre, I'd like to start with you. So, what were some of your top level insights that you took away from the discussions over the 2 days from managing partners from all over Europe?
We still see a curious difference between small, mid-size private equities and very big private equities. So the big ones, they have usually 2 or 3 operational due diligence, and they request us another one just to compare and to avoid any risk. And the small and mid private equities, most of them underestimate the operational due diligence. And so they just go to the value creation plan without an accurate assessment of the portfolio company they are going to buy.
So, Gary, what about you? What were some insights you took away from the 2 days in London?
Well, thanks, Jason. I think the most significant one over those 2 days was the fact that only 40% of the material price increases are being passed through to portfolio companies' respective customers. And what this is doing is driving even more pressure on the operations to find improvement and margin. Otherwise, this will be lost at the bottom line.
Was it your general sense that operating partners are a little more focused on their existing portcos right now, trying to help them navigate through the longer term as a result of everything going on?
I would have to imagine that investment theses that were developed under a different environment, under different circumstances, under a different plan perhaps, requires those operating partners and their respective portfolio companies to look at things through a new lens, because all those things that were related to, say, growth related leverage may not be there today, or at least the underlying assumption on how they were going to obtain the growth is challenged today and needs to be rethought. So the short answer to your question is yes, it must be, given what's happened across the world and in the region.
What were some things that maybe weren't talked about that you think you were either surprised that they weren't talked about, or maybe things that you think should be on the minds of operating partners as we walk into the second half of 22?
The thing that comes first to mind that I think is really where companies should be thinking is around resiliency. For decades, efficiency has really been the mantra. But today, when we see all these items happening in the world, resiliency of several things, of supply chain, of human capital, and in many cases, the mix between the two, because one can influence the other, and the ability to be able to handle both at the same time is key. The other thing that I would mention is the ability to address the inflationary pressures that exist today. And those pressures that exist, many cases around productivity, around material waste, around procurement, and even around energy. You could even put energy into the resiliency bucket as well. So I would put those two primary categories, resiliency and addressing inflationary pressures, at the very top of what those firms are really looking to help their portfolio companies with today.
Well, thanks, guys. This was great insight. I appreciate you sharing with us what you heard and what you took away, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you, Jason.